Alright, in this video I'm going to show you how to cycle your RSS feeds over here. Here's the RSS. I got two little buttons to cycle them, and this down here is just for reference. And as you can see over here, I'm getting my RSS feeds from Google News, and sometimes they can kind of be out of sync, but feed number 0, you know, that's the top story up here. If I come over here and cycle, there's feed number 1, you know, Republican candidate Carson. So basically I'm pulling these titles from these RSS feeds. I prefer to do that versus doing some of the descriptions. That's just me, because the descriptions sometimes can have some funky numbers and letters in it. But nonetheless, as I click these arrows, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And I have it set so after 7 I'm going to go back to 0. So let me click it one more time. Notice it goes back to 0 and I'm back at Pope Francis. Suppose I was scrolling this way and I went past one that I wanted to see. You know, I'm on feed number 3, but I accidentally skipped over 2. Instead of me, you know, going forward back to 2, I can just use this one to go backwards. So this will go back to 0 and then it'll go back to 7. So that's how I do my RSS feeds. I use titles and I use the arrows to cycle through them. Now let me show you how to do this step by step. So let's go into KLWP. Now of course you may be putting these feeds in your RSS groups, but nonetheless I'm going to delete everything, and I'm going to show you how you do it from scratch. So first and foremost, now I'm going to get off of the little mouse here and I'm going to go and use my fingers on my cell phone. But nonetheless, now I'm using my fingers, so hopefully you can still see how the screen is moving and whatnot. But let's go over to globals, and in order to do this, I tell you what, I had it there, but I'm going to add it right back. So we're going to add a text global variable, and I'm going to call it feed. You can call it whatever you want. I'm going to go ahead and establish a number, 0. Text global variable, feed, and I have it set to 0. Now, let's go over to items. Now you might want to put this text into your overlap group or wherever you want to put it, but I'm just going to put it right here in root. So I'm going to do text. I'm going to edit that text, and I don't want any of this stuff, so I'm going to delete all this. Now this is where you can go get your RSS feed, but before we do that, whoops, don't want that either. Got to get used to this new BB code as well. Scrolling down, before we get our RSS website, scroll down until you see the WG right there. Alright. And the one that I like to do, make sure you select the right one. The RSS feed title, that's what I like to use. However, I want the count in it. And if we scroll down a little bit more, we get RSS feed title for entry 0. This is the one that I like to use right there. Alright, and now what we want to do is we want to delete this. But I'll tell you what, let me get the website that I want, or the RSS feed that I want first. So going over here to Google News, suppose I want a sports one. So I'm going to go to sports. And you got to hunt around for the RSS link sometimes, but down here at the very bottom on Google News, you have a RSS. Clicking on that, and you want to copy and paste this up here. And I want to put that right there. I think you need to leave the quotations there, but nonetheless, I'm going to paste it in there. Bam. So that is copied and pasted right here. Now what we want to change is, okay, remember how I told you to, let me use my hands again. Remember how we did RSS feed title for entry 0? I'm going to change this 0 to my GV feed. So global variable feed, make sure you don't forget your parentheses and your dollar symbol. Oh yeah, okay, I don't need my dollar symbols because I already have dollar symbols here and here, so you don't need those. I noticed I was getting some errors. Look, if I put those dollar symbols back in here, see, I mean, that's pretty cool. It tells you that you're jacking something up, but nonetheless we don't need those since we already have the whole thing in parentheses. So now this is what's going to change based on 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now depending on how many stories you want. Now right now it's going to say loading, no big deal. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Let's do fixed width and I'll make it a little bit wider. Alright, now nothing's showing right now. If I click save and I probably go back to my home screen, it should pull up a story. Yep. And that's way too big now that I'm looking at it. But look, this is a sports, ESPN. I did, get an RSS feed from sports. Okay, so we have that. Let me make my text a little bit smaller. That way it looks somewhat. Again, this is nothing fancy, but I want to show you how it's done. Now, other things that we want to do. We want to do 2 buttons. So I'm going to put these buttons right here in root. You can put them wherever you want. And let's do a triangle. I'm going to put this in the center right. And again, I can select center right for the whole screen since my shape is right in there in the root folder. And let's just make this button a little bit bigger. Alright, good enough. Now let's establish a touch. Establishing a touch on this thing. So when we touch this thing here, I want to go up in my feed count. So therefore, choosing toggle global switch. The only global switch I have is feed. And here's what we want to do. So I'm going to go to my phone to type this in. $symbol, and we're going to say if our global variable feed, and since we want to go up, as high as we want to go, I'm going to say let's do the first 5 feeds. So if our global variable feed is smaller than 5, so less than 5, we want to take our global variable feed and we want to add 1 to it. Otherwise, we want to return back to 0. Alright. Now again, let me explain what this means. If that feed number that we have, if that feed number is less than 5, such as 4, 3, 2, 1, or 0, we don't worry about negative numbers, not for this case at least. So if that's less than 5, we want to take that number and we want to add 1 to it. Now it's going to keep doing this until we get to a number that's not less than 5. For example, when we get to 5. So once we're on 5 and we press this button again, it's going to reset. That's what that (0) means right there. So if our global variable is less than 5, add 1 to it. If it's not less than 5, we want to make it 0. Basically, it's going to reset it back. And we're good with that button. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take that button. This one, I guess I'll go ahead and call it next, because that's going to be the next. Whoops, can't do my swipe either. Alright, and let's copy and paste, and let's change this to previous. So I got 2 of them laying right on top of each other right now. Alright, now we want to move, if I can spell. Alright, now, so you may think, we do have 2 of them. What I want to do is I want to position this one to the center left, and I want to rotate this 180. That way we can, it looks like 2 buttons, a right button and a left button. Now we got to change this one though. We got to change this touch. Still keeping the global switch of feed, but now we want to change the coding for this, because now we want to go backwards. So if the global variable is greater than 0, we want to take the global feed and we want to subtract 1. So if it's greater than 0, such as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we want to subtract 1 from it. I want to go backwards. So this is going to count down. And otherwise, so if it's not greater than 0, for example, when we get 0, I want to reset it back to, in this case, remember how I said I want 5, I want to see 5 of them. So I can scroll from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's what this code and the code I did just a moment ago are going to allow us to cycle back and forth. So if I'm greater than 5, such as, suppose my global variable feeds at 4, it's going to take that and subtract 1 and knock it down to 3. And if it was at 3, it would knock it down to 2. If it's at 2, it's going to knock it down to 1. If it's at 1, it's going to knock it down to 0. If it's at 0, which means it's not greater than 0, it's going to reset that global variable feed to 5. And I think did I click check? Yeah, I did. Just make sure I check. If you press X, it won't put that code in. And just for one more thing, as a reference, I'm going to do a text. I'm going to pop this at the bottom. I like doing this for teaching purposes. And let's make this a little bit bigger. And I like to do this to test out and make sure everything is working right. So I'm going to say feed number equals, and then I want to see what my GV feed is. So notice I'm putting my dollar symbols here. Again, I do need them here. I know a while ago I said you did need them, but I don't have them anywhere else in this formula. So there's my dollar symbols. Notice it says my feed number 0. So this should match. It should. I'm going to go back to my sports. It should match this up here. Unless it, sometimes, like I said, it can be a little bit behind, but nonetheless, let me save this. Let's go back to the home screen, and okay, my feed number is 0, but it's looking like, you know, number 1 maybe. I don't know. Like I said, it can be a little bit off sometimes. Here's my feed number 1. Okay, so feed number 1 is actually showing this. Feed number 2, golfing rivals, right there. Feed number 3, Cal quarterback, right here. So where's Des Bryant? Like I said, they can be a little bit off. There's feed number 4. So these two might be cycle back and forth between each other. But nonetheless, let's look and see what happens when we go to 5. So here's 5. Who helped college football? Where's that at? See, sometimes it's weird. Nonetheless, anyway, what happens when we go to the next one? It's not going to go up to 6. It's going to go back to 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, you can set this and change your coding to whatever you want. Suppose I want to go backwards. This one go 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and now it's not going to go to -1. I've got it set to go to 5. So that's how you can cycle through them. And again, I like using the title versus using the description, where it gets the actual content, because for a lot of these RSS feeds, for me, it puts in numbers and weird things I don't want to see. Plus, the title is all I really need to see. And something else to mention, what you can also do is with this RSS feed, you can set that text to have a touch, and you can tell it to open a website or something like that. So I open link. And what's the link? Maybe I want to open my sports feed. So copy that just to show you that this will work. Let's paste it. Check it. So now I got this touch. When I touch this thing up here, whatever my information is, it should open up, in my case on my phone, Google Chrome. So okay, I'm cycling through. Whoops. Let me use my hand. Cycling through, and then if I want to open, it's not going to go straight to this story, but if I touch that, what it should do is it should open up Chrome and at least take me to, you know, look, check this out. Boom. This is on my phone. This is what's on my computer. But there you have it. That is how I cycle my RSS feeds in KLWP. And that's it for this video. Hope it helped.